Hey, Sean, I know you have a long week ahead of you, but any injury updates on the guys who missed the game or anybody come away with an injury during yesterday's
Ye-
game?
No, I felt we came out pretty clean, other than Josh's shoulder yesterday, which is sore at this point. Balin and Q Mars continue to improve. We'll see where they go in the days ahead here.
You mentioned your team's increased energy during last game, specifically in the locker room with Stephon Diggs. Why do you feel that energy may have been lacking early in the season?
Listen. I'm not going to sit here and say it was lacking. I just think when you don't get into a rhythm and things happen, sometimes you can't find your rhythm. I think sometimes that factors in also. I think the guys, for the most part, came out for every game with a certain intent. But when you can't find the rhythm early, it affects energy, right? Team energy. And I think what you saw was a combination of both on the other end. You saw team energy and intent this game, and then we got off to a good start. Defensively, we got the ball back to the offense, and then the offense got into a rhythm there. And in particular, in Khalil's run down the sideline on 2nd and 2 there was impressive, and it really lifted the team.
On that same note, Daquan was out there pregame, mixing it up with the guys on the defensive line. How do you feel his presence worked for those guys yesterday? Just seeing him out there and coaching those guys up in the pregame.
Yeah, well, he's one of the leaders of our team, right? And unfortunately, we don't have him. And but his presence, much like Milano's presence, Tre'Davious' presence, when they're around, anytime they can be around, it just adds to our environment.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, Sean. John Worrell here. Hope you get a little bit of rest this weekend, with it being a bit of a long one for you. But imperfect as maybe that game was, especially at the end, it got a little bit scrambly. Do you think that maybe it serves as a bit of a template in how this team goes forward with, I guess, maybe a template for your complementary football of what you wanted?
Are you saying the outside of the end of the fourth quarter there, or what do you?
I guess just the way that game went. The offense gets, kind of takes the pressure off the defense by getting a lead, and just the way the offense, just the way the offense, got out to a fast start. Do you think that could serve as a template in some ways?
Well, that's what we want to do. You're right, John. That's what we want to do. Obviously, it's hard to do that every week. You're not always going to be able to do that because they get paid on their side too, and they're good players and good coaches on the other side. But yeah, I mean the rhythm, the energy, offense feeding defense, defense feeding offense, special teams baked into all that, and I think that was evident through the better part of 3 quarters, and then in the fourth quarter there, collectively, we didn't do enough to keep our foot on the gas pedal to get off the field on those fourth downs, or to manage field position on special teams with those critical penalties we had on the backed up punts.
And it looked like that final play of the third quarter kind of like changed the complexion of the game. Did Josh think he was getting a free play there? Because I don't know if anybody expected him getting a snap off that.
No, that was a hard count situation, and we didn't handle that. I thought we could have handled that better. And in turn, we go from a second down and 1 or 2 and in control of the sticks and the ball at the +40, looking for points to go up 17 at a minimum, to a long yardage situation and off schedule. So we could have handled that better.
And last thing, is it too early to maybe start thinking about returning to Cincinnati and the memories that happened there, and how might you address that with the team next week?
Well, we will. We will communicate on that. I think the biggest thing that's in front of us is the football game, and that's what we have to keep it about. Is that game and what it's going to take to win at Cincinnati.
The emotional impact, though, might that be something that you need to talk about?
Yeah, like I said, we'll discuss it.
Okay.
We'll discuss it. But we got to keep it about the football game.
I hear that. Thanks, Sean. Have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Thanks, John.
Hey, Sean, it's Jay with the Buffalo News. Yards after catch is an area that you guys have been working to, I guess, improve from the past couple of seasons. The numbers are pretty good. Was last night maybe a pretty good example of maybe some of the improvements that you've shown in that category?
I agree, Jay, and again, starting with Shakir's catch and run and the just on a simple outlet throw from Josh, I thought he did a good job, and that was a huge play, and I think that then becomes infectious, right? To hey, get the ball out and get the ball in the hands of the playmakers and let them do their thing.
What did you think of Jordan Poyer's game, and how much of a new role was that for him, or maybe just like an adjusted role? And maybe just over the past couple of weeks, have you seen him sort of elevate his game a little bit here?
Seems like he's a little bit rejuvenated. We've moved him into the dime position on third downs and 2-minute situations in particular, sometimes on second down as well. And he's playing with great energy. He's made some big time plays for us the last 2 games, and I'm happy for him. It's fun to watch.
Great. Thanks, Sean. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Hey, Coach. Especially with Vaughn out the first 4 weeks of the season, what impact has Leonard Floyd had on the defense, and how big of a role has he played?
Leonard's been a good addition. He plays with good energy, and he's relentless in his effort in terms of trying to get to the quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, with Vaughn out, we were a little bit shorthanded, and Vaughn's still returning. So we have to manage expectations there as well. But I think each week he's getting better.
And then with James in his second year, he's becoming a really critical part of this offense. How have you seen him grow from year 1 to year 2?
I think just more of a full-time role, you would call it. Obviously, splitting reps primarily with Tay in this case, but it's clear that James wants to carry even more of the load, and that'll come over the course of time with continued high level of play, like he has shown at times this year.
Thanks, Coach. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, you too.
Hey, Sean. I wanted to follow up some on what Jay was asking about Jordan Poyer, just what's gone into the decisions to use him a little differently on defense.
Well, again, I think you use, the resources that you have. And so, Jordan, this is not a position he's played with us before, but just feeling like, hey, he's a very smart and instinctive and tough football player. And naturally, the closer you get to the box, the tougher you need to be. And so even for a smaller player, quote unquote, he plays bigger. And so we're comfortable with him closer to the line of scrimmage, and he's smart. And so his rapport with TB in this case, in those situations, 2 smart football players that understand the game and can impact the game for us.
Yeah, I talked to Terrell about it some last night. He was saying he didn't feel there was that much of a difference from his job as communicating it. Just what did you see of him kind of handling, switching up the defense around him some last night?
With TB down there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, just, we go from nickel with T-Dot on the field last night to dime with Jordan on the field in certain situations. And again, because TB is new, in this case, he's working with T-Dot, who's has not started a lot of games. And then Jordan, who's new down there as of the last 2 games. Again, I think it's building rapport, building experience through reps, and also then trying to put our players in the best possible positions.
And then is that something that was also kind of dictated off of what Tampa Bay you guys had seen, or is that something that you anticipate using more and more of moving forward with Jordan?
Yeah, TBD at this point. It's really in response to Milano going down, and us trying to put a player in there that we have a lot of confidence in, and is situationally specific.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Sure.
Hey, Sean. With Taylor Rapp, he's played some hybrid linebacker in the past in his career. What kind of went into the decision to maybe play Taylor deep and Jordan kind of closer to the box? What kind of skill set stuff to go into that decision?
Right. I mean, Taylor, to your point, has done some of that. His experience in particular in LA in years prior. to this year. But feel overall that Taylor's comfortability in the back end is good enough to where we want to watch him grow back there, and also moving Jordan closer to the line and watching him impact the game from a blitz standpoint, from a communication standpoint. He's one of our better communicators, and that helps us also there.
How much are the instincts different when you say going from safety to more of that hybrid linebacker kind of deal?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The closer you get to the line of scrimmage, the quicker the game unfolds. And so you have to be able to process quickly because things happen naturally. The closer you are, they happen faster. And so your processing time has to be faster as well. So I think Jordan's well equipped to go down there and do some good things for us down there.
Now, having a chance to kind of sit back and look at the film, in hindsight, would you have preferred to maybe be a little bit more aggressive offensively on any of the last few drives in the fourth quarter, just to avoid giving them another bite at the apple offensively?
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. I think there's a couple of 4th and 2 situations, but to that point, they hadn't really done much offensively, and I was not about to give a team that has not shown that they can drive the field on us at that point a short field when it's a 2-score game, because 1 score off of a short field can quickly change the complexion of the game. So I feel comfortable and confident in my decisions. And now the 22-play drive on the defense, they drove the field, but there was 3 or 4 4th and longs that 2 were accomplished through penalty. And so, I feel confident that we were putting ourselves in a position to win and close them out. And there were also other opportunities within the game to get to a 4th and short where we would have gone for it. In particular, whether it be those couple 4th and 2s, could have been 4th and 1s, we go for it. Or the 4th and healthy one at the end of the game, if we get to 4th and inches, I'm going for it right there to close it out. So some of that's on us as well, and trying to put ourselves in better striking positions.
And what goes into that, the end of game stuff there, where maybe you're not having to, sweat it out on the last play of the game there?
Well, again, you talk about complementary football, right? And so if there were, I think, 2 punts, one at the end of the 3rd quarter and one at the beginning of the 4th quarter, where we had them backed up, had a chance to get the ball around midfield, and we had 2 holding penalties, right? And all of a sudden, that instead of the field tilted in one direction, where we're going in for a third to go up 3 scores and put the game away, those holding calls were big factors in the game. And it started to level out the field. And then we got to a certain situation offensively where we probably got a little bit cautious, I'll call it, as opposed to staying on the gas. And then, we had that situation in the end of the 3rd quarter where we had 2nd and 2 on the +4. And how we needed 1 first down, if that, and we're coming away with hopefully 3. It puts us up 17. So in addition to that long drive on the defense, I think it all factored into, hey, you're letting a team hang around here, and what happens in the NFL is you never know, right, on the last play of the game what could happen. So we've got to do a better job of closing a team out there.
Great, thank you. Have a great weekend.
All right, thank you too.
Hey, Coach, now that you guys have a few days off here this weekend, what are you hoping comes out of a long weekend and starting next week with a fresh week at this point in the year heading into week 9?
Well, I think prospectively, Maddie, we have a late bye. This is a mini break for us at this point after a 4-week stretch of going to London, coming back, playing a late Sunday night game, going to an away game at New England, and then playing it on a short week here. So it's been a grind, and so now it is time to even for myself to get a little bit of rest. I believe in hard work and all that type of good stuff, but it is time to get a little bit of rest and try and just push back here and come back fresh and make this stretch run, starting with an away game at the Bengals here.
Thanks, Coach. Rest up and enjoy that time with the family.
Thanks, will do, Maddie. Appreciate it.
That's all the questions for today. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you, guys.